morning. I'm Nick Ford, Managing Partner of Top Rank. Welcome to Breaking Barriers. Today we'll be chatting with Jennifer Daly, the President and CEO of ICR. And as we go on, we'll talk more about what she does and how she fits our role of diversity and inclusion. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe give us some background on Jennifer Daly?
Sure. Well, I am the CEO for ICR Iowa, an organization that's our regional economic development entity for the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, 7-county area. I actually got into this position in kind of an interesting way. Our family lived in the Iowa City area when I was a high school student. I went to the University of Iowa, and I actually am the co-founder of the Iowa Children's Museum. So I kind of started my path that way and ultimately ended up getting into economic and community development, was in Southeast Iowa, and then was in Illinois for 9 years. And a recruiter found me in the Peoria area, and they were looking for somebody to help them start a regional economic development organization for this region. And when they saw my background, I think my connection to the region, and then the skill set I had in economic and community development, they asked me if I would be interested in coming back to really what I consider my hometown to help build this new entity.
So you are from here kind of originally, which is nice, coming home, coming from a similar background. What really drew you to this job particularly, the Cedar Rapids Economic Alliance position, and combined with the Iowa City Area Development into this joint venture? What really drew you into this?
You know, I love this area, and I always love living here, and just the unique combination of a college town along with all of the companies that are here and the people, the diversity, the locally owned businesses, the cool restaurants. Our family always loved it here, and this always felt like home to us. So I think we always felt like we would come back here at some point. And this opportunity was really unique. I mean, I'm very passionate about economic development. I've been very fortunate to have been involved in helping to develop several communities, and I think it's a really powerful thing to create jobs for people, and to help people come and live in places that they love, and help communities build infrastructure and build quality of life amenities. It's exciting. It's exciting work. It's exciting to be a part of that. And I was really interested that the Iowa City and Cedar Rapids area and the region surrounding had finally gotten to a point where they were so intermingled. They were really sharing workforce. They were really becoming one economy, and that they really were interested in creating this entity and doing this work together.
Outstanding. So explain a little bit about ICR, even more. What's its mission, what's its vision, and kind of some of the identities you guys have taken on, as well as maybe some of your new things that you guys are doing now that's really exciting.
Yeah, well, so first, I think a lot of people ask, what is ICR Iowa? And ICR stands for Iowa City, Cedar Rapids. And we established the brand because we were asked to really focus on business attraction and workforce development for the 7-county areas. And so when you're going outside the region and you're talking to people about this place, it's important for us to have and to leverage the names of our biggest cities and to connect them so that people understand, people who aren't that familiar with Iowa, who might be looking at locating here, companies who might be looking at locating here, so they understand this is Iowa City, Cedar Rapids is one region, it's one place. And so we spent a little bit of time figuring out, kind of the name and the brand, what to call ourselves, building an organization. We're a nonprofit 501c6 organization with a board of directors. We were launched by the Cedar Rapids Metro Economic Alliance and the Iowa City Area Development Group, and they fund our work. So our work is completely funded by those two entities, and we have a really small team. We've got 5 people on our team, and we focus on business attraction and then workforce development, both building our labor force, our current labor force, growing that labor force, and then also preparing our future labor force. So we have a component of our work that is working with middle and high school students on career development as well. So yeah, so it's a really exciting time, I think, for our entity. We're really young. We're only a year and a half in, and so we're a lot of our strategies are really just getting launched, or we're beginning to see kind of some of those strategies start to have some effect.
What kind of successes are you having to date with kind of the local communities and businesses in the communities, as well as I love the high school thing. The not just the companies using you hopefully, but also the inputs. What kind of successes are you seeing so far?
Yeah, well, so we kind of divide our work into three pieces. The first piece we call Choose ICR, and that's our business attraction team and efforts. We did, last year in 2018, we did 15 sales trips. We rolled out a new brand, materials. We meet with site consultants and companies that are interested in locating here. We worked with 2 companies that located here last year, and we've got about a dozen companies that are interested in locating here right now that we're working with. And every project is different, so you submit a lot of data, a lot of information, you're competing with other places. Almost every week or 2 we have site visits. We have companies who come and they visit our sites and our team, and we compete for these projects with really high quality jobs. So that's it's interesting to kind of see the traction we're getting and the progress in terms of project opportunities. We'll see how many we can actually land. I mean, that's obviously the goal is to secure more of those projects, and we'd like ultimately to have 5 projects or so landing here each year with high quality jobs that are generating a great new tax base for us in our communities. The other 2 pieces we have the talent attraction and retention. So we work with employers who are trying to recruit people from outside the region. And we have what we call a talent hub. So we actually market nationally to people who are interested in locating here for job opportunities. And our target market is primarily people who have been in Iowa before. So we call them our Iowa alumni, but they're not necessarily University of Iowa alumni.
Right.
But they're people who maybe they grew up in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, or the surrounding areas, or somewhere in Iowa. Maybe they went to school here, and then they left at some point, probably for career opportunities or family situations. We think there's a lot of those people that would like to come back, and they just need some help. Getting connected to employers, opportunities, reminding people of the great quality of life here. So we're really focusing on that. We have a marketing campaign that's underway, and our goal is to have 500 new candidates that we identify and connect with employers.
Nice.
By the end of this year.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So I think our employers are really excited about that work, since so many of them are struggling to get the people that they need for a lot of the roles that they have. And then finally, the kiddos in the schools, which is one of the, I think is a really fun part of our work. We actually just worked with ICANN to hold the first region-wide career and college exploration event at the Kirkwood Hotel. We had over 2,000 students and families attend that to do career exploration with lots of partners in that event. In addition to ICANN, Work-Based Learning Connection is a huge partner for us. Medco is a great partner with their Community Promise program. We had lots of employers that were there in colleges, and really the event was focused on high school sophomores and their parents. Oftentimes that's a time when kids are really starting to have to think about, what do I want to do after I'm done? Because believe it or not, when you're a junior in high school, you start having to take tests like ACTs and SATs. You start having to, kind of make plans. And so that's early for kids, and oftentimes they know very little about the high demand career paths and what education is needed for different pathways, what you can make, what are the salaries, and which things are in high demand here in the region. And so we're working with a lot of partners to try to get that information to those students. We launched a website called icrfuture.org, and it's a hub with this kind of information. So it's a great, if there's parents out there who are like, gosh, how do I help my kids find their
Right.
path? They could go to icrfuture.org, and it has some great information to help them.
Oh, that's an awesome site. Grab my kids grow up here after moving back. It would have been nice to have that before. So I think
Yeah.
as the kids are coming through now, I think that's a great thing. So I really appreciate that you guys have that out there.
I think it's somewhat selfish. In all honesty, I have a 14-year-old son.
All right.
And so we are like knee deep in kind of this work. And so he's, been the unfortunate guinea pig, I think, for the site.
Right.
But yeah, I think we hope it's going to be very helpful, and we're continuing to add new content.
Okay. You talked about a little bit about, as far as hiring and retention of people working here.
Yeah.
What kind of more, I'd like to delve into that a little bit more as far as on the diversity inclusion side, because that's kind of what's near and dear to our heart.
Yeah.
What are some things you guys are doing in that realm to really push that, so that's, in today's tough job market, things have to be done. What are you guys doing there on that area, that front?
Yeah, it was interesting when we started work in this space with talent attraction and retention. We pulled together a lot of our human resource directors, especially from our larger and mid-sized companies, and we did some strategy sessions with them because we were interested to understand how we could best support and help them. And really the number one issue in that strategy session that they pretty much across the board all talked about was diversity and inclusion. And it may not be surprising that employers in Iowa struggle to attract and retain diverse talent. What the employers will talk about is they'll work to recruit folks, especially folks who are not here or have never been to Iowa, will have perceptions of Iowa and perceptions of what it might be like to live here. And oftentimes it's really hard for them to get those candidates to come here. And even when they do, sometimes it's hard for them to retain those candidates here. So, as the employers were talking about this, we felt like one of the core things we needed to try to do through ICR Iowa was to try to help these employers understand things like what are best practices, what kinds of things can we do for diversity and inclusion within our employers, what can we do collectively as employers to help increase retention of candidates. And so as we were kind of thinking about what could we best do to support this kind of effort, we identified a group that was already in existence called the Employee Resource Group Consortium. They were kind of known in the region as the ERGC. And it was a group of employers that were basically individuals within companies that their kind of role was diversity and inclusion. And they'd been meeting for 7 years or so and working. They'd done a diversity event annually, some mixers. And what we ended up doing is partnering with that group and saying, how can we support what you're doing? Because our employers, they care a lot about this work and they need it, and we want to help you grow this work. And so that group decided to transition their name to Inclusive ICR, which is that coalition now that's open to anyone who's interested in this work. So that group had kind of their first meeting with this new name and kind of an open format where anybody could come. And we're really excited about what we can do working within this coalition to help increase the number of candidates that we can recruit and retain diverse candidates in the region.
That's outstanding. So real quickly here, I know there's a lot we've covered already. Tell us a little bit about your team, give them a little shout out here. And,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it takes a lot of people to do all this, but tell us about your team.
Well, our team is extensive. I mean, we have so many partners across the region, but I'll start with the folks that work with me at ICR Iowa. So Brian Crow is our Director of Business Attraction, and just phenomenal. He's lives in Marion, actually has two little girls, and is just fantastic at his work at leading that effort. We have Kate Moreland. She leads ICR Future. That's the work that we do with the kids in the schools. And she lives in Iowa City. She's got 3 kids, including a daughter who just went to college. And she's just absolutely passionate about this space and innovation and education and career development. So she's been amazing to work with. Tim Carty is our Director of Talent Attraction. And he was, before he came to work for us, he was with the Iowa City Area Chamber of Commerce. He's got 2 itty bitty kids, and his wife works for the school system here and is a volleyball coach too. They're passionate about this region, and Tim is like Mr. Recruiter. He is phenomenal at talking with candidates and helping them get connected to employers. And then finally we have Tom Banta, and Tom leads our workforce solutions efforts, and he, along with our partners at Kirkwood and Iowa Works, they meet with employers, interstate commerce employers who are having workforce challenges, which in all honesty, Nick, right now is pretty much all of our employers.
All of our employers, yes.
They're all having some challenges right now with workforce. But that team, it's so great because they meet with those employers and they really dig in and try to strategically help those employers identify some solutions. And Tom is an incredibly strategic person. He's fantastic at that work and really passionate about helping our employers to overcome their challenges. So that's our team. And then I could never list all the partners. We work with everybody. We work with recruiters. We work with realtors. We work with, obviously, our employers, lots and lots of nonprofits, all of the career development organizations that are working, in this space on with students and innovation and education, 32 school districts. Wow. Over 300 volunteers involved right now in partners with ICR Iowa with our efforts.
That's incredible, Jennifer. It seems like you have a really good team there, and it's just exciting to hear about things like this happening in the area. So, as we go on, we'd like to continue to talk more about the diversity inclusion side. Is there anything last minute you just want to throw out maybe that we've missed for what ICR is and what it stands for?
I think something that's just really special about ICR Iowa is, we really believe in collective impact. None of these challenges that our region is facing, none of them will be overcome by a single entity. We will only meet those challenges when we work hand in hand, and we're really dedicated to that model. Much of the work that's underway is work being done by dozens of organizations, working to try to help students or help employers, and we're so fortunate in this region. I think that people really want to collaborate. They're really, they really want to work together, and we just feel very, very lucky to be able to work with all of these incredible partners and to try to elevate their work and give more voice to it, and try to bring more resources to it. And of course, our partners at the Cedar Rapids Metro Economic Alliance and the Iowa City Area Development Group, we simply would not be here. We would not have been created without their leadership.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer.